Hi, I'm Tom. You guys were all really cool about the last video I did. A lot of really cool comments like, do some more of that, and what about Barry Horowitz? So I am gonna do more of that. And I'm sure Barry's doing fine. We're gonna diversify things. There's gonna be time for the jobbers. More time in the future for the jobbers, but we need to split off, do some other things. So I'm not just the jobber video guy. So today I want to talk about the WCW Clash of the Champions. They were my favorite shows when I was a kid because we didn't have pay-per-view where I was from. I was from a little town called Rochdale. I don't even know if we had cable. I think we were just bootlegging each other's stuff with the wires and things. So it was cool every few months, I'd get to actually see the stars fight each other instead of the Cajun Predator, on our bootleg cable, or maybe it was bootleg, maybe it wasn't. Little Tommy loved those shows. And today I want to tell you about my favorite, not just my favorite Clash of the Champions, but my personal favorite wrestling show of all time. I don't know if it's the best wrestling show. I am not qualified to rank best. This is my favorite. So today I'd like to tell you about the November 1991 Clash of the Champions. I'm just going to list off some of the reasons why I like the show. So if you need like a match-by-match breakdown, I'm sure you just Google it. First off, like with most wrestling from our childhoods, there's a whole sentimental story behind why I adore this show. So I was 4 years old. I'd been into wrestling for about a year, but my mom wouldn't let me stay up late to watch any of the nighttime shows. Because, I was 4. For some reason, though, she decided to give me a chance for this specific Clash of the Champions. Also, we had just gotten a new VCR, so she had my sister's boyfriend record the show just in case I fell asleep. But guess who didn't fall asleep? That's right, little old Tommy Green. That's who. Of course, I fell asleep 5 minutes afterwards with my head in a popcorn bowl that I was eating out of all night. But I also watched that tape so many times. I had to have been at least 100. I swear, so many. And for some reason, the tape starts like halfway through the Big Josh Tommy Rich lumberjack match. So I always thought that's how the show started, just with them in the ring. So when the show went up on the WWE Network years ago and blew my mind when it had an actual intro with Tony Schiavone and Lego head Jim Ross. Speaking of, it was completely wild to me when I went back years later and discovered that there was an actual storyline build to Thomas Rich versus Big Josh, besides what if we did a lumberjack match with an actual lumberjack in it. I had no memory of any of this whatsoever. So I love the show because it transports me back to a time when I had no worries or bills. I just had my sweatpants and my Cheetos, and lumberjacks were free to fight their enemies by the bylaws of their people. Beyond the sentimental value, this is a pretty damn good artistic show as well. For instance, it has one of the best one-night angles in pro wrestling TV history. So for those of you who need the backstory, for weeks someone had been putting dudes inside of refrigerator boxes and wrapping them up like presents, then having them delivered to Sting after his matches. Some real pervert stuff. Dudes like Cactus Jack and Abdullah the Butcher would pop out of these boxes and try to mutilate Sting, but he was Sting. Dudes don't mutilate him. So it had been built up that this Clash of the Champions was supposed to have the ultimate gift box reveal. So when the time came, Tony Schiavone brings out Sting on the ramp and is like, let's see this box. From there, about a dozen oiled up barefoot muscle boys carried out some sort of Egyptian gazebo to deliver to Sting on that ramp. Again, real pervert stuff. Then someone sticks their foot out for the foot weirdos before Medusa emerged from this contraption, where she then got down on her knees and was rubbing Sting like, hey Sting, may we fornicate in front of all these thousands of people in Savannah, Georgia, starting with my mouth and then maybe my butt? And Sting howled, which I believe is Sting speak for, yeah, I think I would like to fornicate with you in front of all of these people in Savannah, Georgia, starting with mouths and then maybe butts. But all of a sudden, the world champion Lex Luger popped out of that thing and attacked Sting's leg like a really bad friend. I mean, they own gyms together. This is just a bad business move. I think the plan was then to attack Sting's engorged groin area, but all of Sting's buddies ran out like, we wanted to see this fornication. Why are you doing this? Sting was taken to the hospital as Bobby Eaton kept lying to him that he had plenty of time to go get checked out before his match, which was a fun little hint towards Bobby joining the Dangerous Alliance weeks later. Eric Bischoff stalked Sting to the hospital, which, once again, real pervert stuff. Bischoff would phone in reports from the hospital on Sting's condition, which is honestly the most unrealistic part of this whole thing. Anyone who's ever been to a hospital knows that it is nearly impossible to dial out on one of those hospital phones to an outside phone number. You gotta type in a code and the area code, and then you gotta type in like a 1, and it's so hard to do. And if he had one of those big gray brick Zach Morris phones, there's no way he had good enough signal to call Jim Ross, even down the road. I've never been to a hospital that had any sort of cell signal. It's so annoying. Sting was chauffeured back to the arena by the same ambulance because that's how ambulances work, I guess. But the dramatic limp that Sting took as the camera followed him all the way from the parking lot to the ring was so good. You couldn't help but get excited. The crowd lost their minds. Rick Rude ends up beating Sting in a short, hot match and wins his United States title. But even with the pro wrestling silliness I mentioned earlier, this was such a great angle. It set up Sting beating Luger for the world title at Super Brawl. It established Rick Rude as the next top heel in WCW in one night, and it provided a through line to make the show even more suspenseful, which the Clash of the Champions shows almost never had. Of course, this is the part where I beg you to like and subscribe, and we've already established you're too smart for YouTube's tricks. I respect you as a viewer and as a person. However, I need to let you know, there's a guy standing right there, over there, and he's very menacing and he's very threatening. And if you don't like and subscribe, you don't click the little thumbs up and the subscribe thing, something bad will happen. He's already established it. If you don't believe me, could you please talk to the people?
Yes, I'm over here and I'm standing in the corner and I'm telling you, if you don't like and subscribe, I'm going to do something real bad. I got a dark trench coat and I'm real threatening and real tall and I'm just going to do bad things.
See, you didn't believe me, but I just proved it. So please like and subscribe. If you value my life, please like and subscribe now. Also, there's an unexpected moment on this show that I genuinely think changed the course of pro wrestling as we know it in America that nobody ever talks about. While the Super Brawl 2 match with Brian Pillman a few months later is always credited as the real influence point for the next generation, one could argue that the Guinian Liger video package on this show changed the game for a lot of fans. WCW had aired New Japan footage before, but nothing like this. Between the incredible costume and the high-flying maneuvers that we had never seen, Guinian Liger seemed like a space alien that had been plopped down on Earth for wrestling. I have to imagine that the 90s tape trader scene was greatly influenced by seeing this minute of Guinian Liger highlights on primetime American television. With the WWF in the toilet, going further down, and WCW in this weird blend of WWF-style cartoon personas and the holdover Jim Crockett Promotions in ring style, Liger was something so wildly unique from what most American fans had ever seen. There is a very real possibility that this video set the whole domino effect that ended up with 2025 pro wrestling being as spectacular as it is now. Finally, this show has my favorite match above all other matches of all time. Of course, I'm referring to Arn Anderson and Larry Zbyszko, aka The Enforcers, versus Ricky Steamboat and Dustin Rhodes for the World Tag Titles. This match is everything good about pro wrestling. The backstory is simple. Arn and Zbyszko slammed Barry Windham's arm in a car door the previous month just to be jerks, so when this tag title match got announced, Dustin had to find a new partner. As I mentioned in a recent WCW Deep Cut, WCW was not sure that Steamboat could get legally cleared from his WWF contract before this show, and actually had Great Muta set up as a backup plan. But as awesome as Muta is, I'm thankful they didn't need him. As a 4-year-old, I didn't know who Ricky Steamboat was, but I remember screaming my head off when he took off the dragon mask, because what I saw on the screen taught me that he was a big deal. The crowd erupted, Dustin and Windham celebrated big, and most importantly, the Enforcers do an all-time classic job selling Fear. As long as I live, I will never forget, he's just a man. He's just a man. Or, not Ricky Steamboat. The match itself is so heated and just a classic example of the tag team formula executed nearly perfectly by three of the all-time greats in Larry Zbyszko. Any match where Ricky Steamboat gets to sell and sell and sell is gonna be great. Beyond my own emotional attachment to this show and this match, everything clicks. They hit every beat and they execute the whole thing tremendously. Between the ancillary moments and the match itself, it is as great of a 20-minute segment of wrestling as you will ever see. So there you have it. That's why I love the November 1991 WCW Clash of the Champions. But I want to know what you think. Do you like it? Have you ever seen it? Do you hate it? Am I an idiot? Don't answer that last one. But also, what's your favorite show? Leave a comment. Get the type in with the fingers. Get the type in. I'd love to hear from you. I respond to so many comments. I spend so much time doing it. I neglect everything else in my life to do so because I want to talk to you. So leave a comment, like, subscribe, maybe become a member of the channel if you like me enough. Throw out a couple of bucks. I do bonus streams. I also do streams on Twitch. Look at the thing right there. That's what I'm going to say. My Twitch handle right there. Okay, my name is Tom, and I'm not your dad.